Today we're going to make a vase. We'll be learning how to make a hollow ball and then creating a vase form out of that. It's a really good starting point for if you want to make any other different types of vases. This is where you can kind of start with a rounded belly and then build on that depending on what you're wanting to make. I'm going to start with a ball of clay. So what we're actually going to do today is we're going to make two pinch pots. We're going to put them together and then we're going to add a neck on the top. So I'm going to divide my two balls so that they are even, and then I'm going to roll them up. The first thing I'm going to do the same thing with both is I'm going to push my thumb in close to the bottom. I'm going to use my finger, my thumb, and I'm going to be pinching. And we're going to see that our ball is going to grow. If you've got any thick areas down the bottom, you can push them together to thin them out. We don't want to go too thin here, we still want to have a little bit of a thickness there. Alright, so that's one done. I'm going to stick that there. Then we're going to do the other one. So again, thumb in the middle, exact same process. And the aim here is to get to the same size, so we want these to be the same size the whole way around. Okay, once you've got them roughly the same size, so these ones are almost there, I just have to keep pinching that out a bit more. What we're going to do is we're going to score across the top and bottom. You can use a little bit of water if you want to. I'm going to use my rib tool. I'm going to score the top. Push them together. Alright, so once you've got them sitting together like that, obviously that's not a very strong joint, so what we're going to do is we want to join that. Just like in our building a mug video, if you haven't seen that, I'll put a link up above. We're just going to push that clay down. Now, the next thing I like to do with my tool, this tool here, or if you've got like a little, just a normal rib tool, you could smooth that over. But I actually just like to kind of score the whole way around. I find you can get it a little bit more even if you do it that way. Then, just like when we made the mug in our last video, we're going to reinforce our joining because we can't actually get into the inside at the moment and smooth that out. So I'm going to make another coil, a piece of clay. I roll my coil between my hands, trying to get it nice and thin because we don't want to be adding too much thickness here either, and that's the other thing. And you may want to flatten that a little bit too. So you're going to score it. Okay, we're going to put half our coil on this side, half of our coil on this side. This is an airtight ball now, so what you can do, it's got a little bit more strength, you can start to shape it a little bit better. So what I like to start out doing once I've got my coil on is I like to just really try and, that's what happens when you have that flat tooth, how frustrating. I like to just go around and get it nice and all the same level. Go the whole way around. So once I've used my spiky tool, I'm going to go with my rib tool. If you don't have a spiky tool, it doesn't really matter, you can go straight to your rib. I'm going to use my needle tool. I'm going to figure out what size I want my hole to be. So we're going to go, so about that. Cut out my hole. So I'm going to start just by rolling coils now. So I'm going to use a little bit of clay. Once you've got a few coils, we're going to score and attach these coils. So remember, you can use your needle tool for this. If you're using your needle tool, you'll just go around like this. Now, because we've got a hollow surface here, we want to support the inside each time we add a coil. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use this tool and I'm going to push that coil down. It's really important to follow those basic rules of attachment, so scoring and adding water if your clay is dry, compressing and evening out the surface of your clay, and the most important thing is making sure you tell your clay where to go. Clay has a memory, so if you don't compress it enough, you will have cracks form. You also just want to smooth out that inside seam as well, so just rub your finger over the inside too, just to make sure that that's joined nicely. So we're just going to keep adding coils until we get to the height. And if you want it even off the top, all you can do is rest your hand on the table, get your needle tool, hold it there and just spin your vase around. If you have a lazy Susan or something like that at home, that will work great for you. But if not, this method works well too. And then the last thing that you need to do just for the basic vase form is to make sure that you smooth out any areas, smooth out the inside. Any of those little creases we're going to try and get rid of as much as we can. Might be a good opportunity to pick up the bottom of your vase again and just give it a little turn in your hands to round it off a little bit more. Another great tip is just make sure that you adjust the form as you go. Keep checking because it is a wet material, so if you have started building sections at the top, the bottom will start to get pushed down and compress a little bit. So I would be making sure that along the way you're picking up your vase, you're checking to make sure that the bottom is rounded. Okay, so that's our basic vase form. So I'm going to add on some handles, but before I do that, I'm kind of thinking I'd like to thin out the shape of this neck a little bit. So I'm going to be cutting away a few little sections. I'm going to start by inserting my needle tool. I'm going to cut straight up. I'm going to turn it. I'm going to cut again, straight up. I'm going to do that in 4 spots. So I'll do the opposite side now. So my cuts on this side, I'm going to cut straight up. Now if I just did 2, it would be like oval shaped on one side, but I don't want it to be oval shaped, I want it to be thin. So I'm going to go to the other side. And these are just like darts, like when you make a dress or a mask. In terms of when we're cutting out different sections, the whole idea of that is so that you can adjust the shape where you want to. So I would cut out a section or like a few different sections if I wanted to transform the vase or the piece that I'm working on. And that's because maybe I've added too much clay, maybe I've pinched in the wrong direction, or maybe it's a combination of those things. So by cutting and arranging as you go, it means that when you finish your final product, you'll be happier with the outside shape. Once you've got your 4 little weirdo sections like this, we're going to join one at a time. So I might just peel these back a little bit and I'm going to press them together. You can score and add slip if you want, or water. At this point, this clay is very forgiving for me. It's quite gritty, but I would do this with my fine stoneware as well. So on the inside, I'm just joining it there as well. Just make sure anytime you are doing something like this that you're always supporting the other side of your clay. And then we've got the last little bit. However, I'm not happy with what's happening here. I don't know if you can see that. It's a little bit lumpy there. So what I want to do is I'm going to use this part of my finger and I'm just going to kind of start to, squeeze the form, shape it, move the clay so that it's a little bit more gradual. We are going to attach some handles now. So I'm just going to roll out some coils. Going to try and make them relatively the same size. Alright. Use your needle tool to mark them directly on the other side. Okay, so you've marked where your handles will go. Use your little tool. Score your handle. And I'm going to attach them both. Alright, so you can't really leave it there, you have to blend out these edges, and then we're going to roll a coil around each handle. So if you had a different object, so say if you wanted to do a ball, like a round ball, you would do the same thing. I would probably flatten the bottom a little bit so you've got more of a surface area for that to sit on, and you would just, score it and then attach it in the exact same way. And then add a coil on. So it doesn't really matter what the shape is, it's the same kind of premise. You just want to make sure anytime that you're joining clay together that you're reinforcing it. Whether that's by compressing the hell out of it or if it's by adding a coil. So like here we didn't add a coil, but we spent quite a bit of time compressing it. Once you know those basic rules, you can pretty much do whatever you want with your clay. So this is an example of a little vase that I made in another video, and I'll put a few pictures of some different vase forms as well up that I've made in a similar way to this one, but essentially once you have those basic rules down pat, you can pretty much make whatever you want. So we're going to add a coil that side, coil on this side. Okay, the same as when we joined our ball together in the middle, we're going to use half of the coil on the bottom and half on the top. Then you're going to get your finger and you're going to smooth out all of those areas. As much as you can. Always make sure you use your finger to smooth after a tool, because the flat pad of your finger is really great for getting a nice smooth finish. You can also do this in the leather hard stage. That will actually burnish your clay. It will smooth it out really nicely. So this side's finished, we've still got to do this side. And then just go around your piece and smooth it off. Make sure that you dry your work really slowly. So I have talked about this in my hand building a mug video. Once you have finished with your vase, I like to use a little bit of wax resist on anything that I add on, but if you don't have that, just make sure that you're drying your work really slowly to avoid any cracking from happening. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope that this video was insightful and that you learnt a few new techniques. Please make sure to tag me. Please make sure to tag me in any photos of your finished pieces so I can see them. Any questions can go in the comments, and make sure you subscribe for some other interesting videos. If you're interested in any of the pieces that you've seen today, make sure you check out my Instagram and my website as well. Thanks for watching.